Be honest with me for a second. Can you still crush a massive bowl of greasy ramen at midnight without a single regret the next morning? Or how about sleeping in until noon on a Saturday just to catch up on rest? If you're shaking your head right now thinking, man, those days are absolutely behind me, you're not alone. Most of us just write this stuff off as simply getting older. But what if I told you that suddenly not being able to digest heavy meats or that super annoying tendency to wake up at 4 a.m. for no reason aren't just harmless little quirks of aging? They're actually early physical alarms going off in your body warning you about something much, much bigger. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into a completely fascinating concept from Dr. Hiroshi Ito. He's a leading professor of preventative medicine at Keio University, and he's literally redefining how we think about getting older. How? By treating our biology exactly like a bank account. So today, we're going to conduct a full audit of your biological clock. We'll look at some really groundbreaking new data and figure out exactly how to keep you energized and thriving well into your 80s and beyond. Here is the agenda for our audit today. First, what is aging dead? Second, the aged 44 cliff. Third, signs of hidden debt. Fourth, the 10% elite. And finally, repaying your health debt. Let's jump right in. All right, section 1, what is aging debt? Let's unpack the central metaphor of our biological audit here. Dr. Ito came up with this brilliant term, aging debt, or in Japanese, roga fusai. The core idea is that aging isn't just about the clock ticking away. It's actually a compounding debt that we actively accumulate in our bodies over time. Think about it. Early on, you make a questionable lifestyle choice, and your body takes out a tiny little loan to deal with it. At first, totally reversible. You can pay it right back. But if you keep ignoring these subtle biological changes, the interest starts compounding. The debt gets bigger and bigger, until eventually it leads to severe, irreversible illness. Basically, biological bankruptcy. We all know how a credit card works, right? If you catch the debt early, you pay off the balance at the end of the month, and you're golden. But if you only pay the absolute minimums, that interest snowballs out of control. Well, aging debt works the exact same way, except instead of monetary interest, it compounds with physical symptoms. And instead of leading to financial ruin, it leads to losing your independence, needing nursing care, or worse. The big takeaway here? You absolutely have to pay down the principal while it's still small. Moving on to section 2, the age 44 cliff. Let's look at how this debt builds up to some pretty shocking turning points in our lives. For the longest time, science kind of assumed aging was just this slow, steady, linear decline, a gentle slope downwards. But a massive landmark study out of Stanford University, which Dr. Ito really highlights, proved that is simply not true. The data actually paints a much wilder picture. In your 20s, you've got peak physical recovery. Your 30s bring a bit of a plateau. But then, we don't just gently slide downwards, we literally fall off steep, dramatic biological cliffs. The very first massive shift in our biological markers happens right around age 44. And the second major cliff, that hits at age 60. Both men and women experience this sudden, aggressive gear shift in their mid-40s. So, section 3, signs of hidden debt. What does hitting that 44-year cliff actually feel like in real life? Honestly, it's the exact stuff we joke about at dinner parties. Oh man, I cannot drink like I used to. Or if I eat that ribeye, I am definitely going to feel it tomorrow. You start seeing changes in digestion, or you suddenly lose the ability to sleep in. Maybe you're waking up at 3 a.m. out of nowhere, or needing to use the restroom a lot more frequently. Listen, these aren't just harmless little complaints. They are literal physical warnings that your biological debt is compounding. Your metabolism is changing, muscle tone in your vital organs is shifting, and your body is practically screaming at you that it's time to change your habits. To figure out how to fix this, we need to understand that this debt piles up in 2 main stages. Step 1 is what we call variable debt. This is when your body is starting to struggle, but the issues kind of fluctuate. So maybe your blood pressure is high, but only sometimes. Or you get these extreme blood sugar spikes right after a heavy carb-loaded meal. The good news? This stage is highly reversible. But if you let it ride, you hit step 2, fixed debt. This is when those fluctuations harden into chronic issues. We're talking chronic high cholesterol, high uric acid that leads to gout, or a fatty liver. And let me tell you, once the debt hardens, it is so much harder to clear off the books. Which brings us to section 4, the 10% elite. Let's raise the stakes for a second and look at the stark reality of how people actually age. These statistics on male aging are a real wake-up call. Roughly 20% of people hit a severe biological decline by the time they reach 70. The vast majority, about 70%, go through a gradual decline where they end up needing some form of physical care by age 85. But then there's the golden 10%, the health elite. These are the folks who stay sharp, totally mobile, and fully energetic well into their 90s, sometimes past 100. They manage to avoid biological bankruptcy entirely. So the obvious question is, what separates that top 10% from everyone else? According to Dr. Ito's research, the health elite share 3 major traits. First up, they have a robust appetite. They still genuinely love to eat heartily. Second, they have an incredibly strong immune system. They almost never catch colds, which, by the way, is a direct byproduct of properly nourishing themselves. And third, they maintain their muscle mass, especially in their legs and back. They aren't just sitting around all day. They are physically robust and incredibly capable. All right, final part, Section 5, repaying your health debt. This is the most proactive part of our audit today. How do we actually pay this biological debt back? If you want to be in that top 10%, you've got to start aggressively paying down your debt, and it starts with your diet. Step 1, you must eat slowly. Inhaling a bowl of noodles on an empty stomach sends your blood sugar through the roof, which rapidly compounds your variable debt. Step 2, try to get all your meals in within a 12-hour window. Your digestive system absolutely needs that downtime to rest and repair your cells. And step 3, prioritize fiber. Fiber slows down your digestion and blunts those dangerous sugar spikes. And those fast-absorbing sugary snacks, think of them as high-interest payday loans for your biology. Just avoid them completely. Next up, we have to look at your physical output. To keep your cells young, you have to challenge your mitochondria with intense exercise. A light walk is great for the mind, sure, but it is not enough to pay down the debt. You need strength training. And Dr. Ito stresses this point heavily. This is exceptionally critical for women. After menopause, when estrogen drops, women face a huge risk of losing bone density and muscle mass. Getting into strength training early and sticking with it is absolutely the best way to protect your skeleton and keep you in that independent, highly mobile bracket later in life. Plus, staying super active is exactly what keeps that robust, youthful appetite alive. Now, I want to add a quick but really important reality check here. Sometimes, despite doing everything right, having the perfect diet, crushing it in the gym, your fixed debt, things like high cholesterol or high uric acid, is just deeply genetic. Dr. Ito makes a fantastic point here. Taking safe, modern medications to manage these specific issues is a really smart, necessary strategy. It is not a failure of willpower. If your body is genetically hardwired to accumulate this specific type of debt, you should absolutely use the tools of modern medicine to wipe it right off your balance sheet. But hey, aging isn't just physical, right? It's highly mental. When we hit that age 44 cliff, a lot of us experience this heavy mental fatigue. The drive to try new things or really challenge ourselves just kind of fades away. We get comfortable. But keeping your mind open to new challenges is exactly what prevents biological stagnation. As Dr. Esito beautifully puts it, mistakes are fine, but trying new things is where the seeds of happiness lie. Actively engaging with the world keeps your nervous system firing, your brain plastic, and your whole biological system feeling incredibly youthful. So we finished your biological audit, and the stakes couldn't be clearer. Age 44 isn't just some random number on a birthday cake. It is a massive biological cliff where the interest on all your past habits suddenly spikes. The choice from here is entirely yours. Are you going to ignore the subtle warnings, the indigestion, the terrible sleep, and risk letting that aging debt compound all the way into biological bankruptcy? Or are you going to take action right now? Change how you eat, pick up those weights, and aggressively pay down that debt so you can join the 10% health elite. It's your biology, and the repayment plan starts today.